Hello, my name is RJ Silva. I am the Flash Lender at Merit Lending, and welcome to my first time homebuyer workshop. This will be an on-call video that you can pull or refer to whenever you have a chance and at your convenience so that you can know the mechanisms of buying a house. Some of the benefits of buying a house is that it helps you build wealth and net worth. As time goes on, your house goes up in value, and that value is called equity. That belongs to you. You can actually cash out some of that money so you can invest in other homes or rentals. You can purchase a car, go on vacation, pay for kids' college, stuff like that, and that helps you. Return on investment is also something that is a good benefit on your purchase because whatever money you're coming in there is always going to be growing. Plus, there might be some tax deductibility advantages as well. And of course, builds a foundation for your family as how it gives you a permanent shelter and friendships that are grown out of that. Things like voting become important and looking at neighborhood and safety and all of that. So buying a house is a good thing for society and for yourself. And this is some of the information that we're going to cover in this short video, including the loan process, out-of-pocket expenses, borrower expectations, obtaining your homeowner's insurance before closing, and the financial details of the purchase. Now, I do want to talk to you about a pre-approval and a full approval. So a pre-approval is something that we do when we originally meet. You fill out an application either in person or online. Then we look at your information and we get you pre-approved, which gets you a pre-approval certificate, and your agent uses that to place offers on whatever home you're looking at. Now, a full approval is once you're in contract and the underwriter has an opportunity from the bank, has an opportunity to look at all the details and grant you a full approval from the bank, which will give you um, the access to the funds to purchase. Some things that you need to remember as you go through the process. It's a pretty general concepts, but they're important to keep in mind. Okay, so be prepared. Have all your documents in one folder, either on your computer or on paper. Time is of the essence. So when we do ask you for some documents or we need you to sign something, please do so um, as soon as you can. There's a saying in the military. I used to be in the Navy, and they used to tell us, "Hurry up and wait." And I see that a lot of the things that we do in home loans is very similar to that because you have to be ready for everything and you gotta hurry up, be ready, 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 ready. But then you gotta wait for when we ask you for the specific things. So don't take it personally. These are documents and things that we ask from everybody. So it's just part of the business and part of the process. The smoothest possible process depends on all parties working together. So I think there was like 17 to 22 different people in every one transaction. So it's important that we work together as a team. Now, the three main factors that affect your pre-approval, the approval, and the rates are very important to keep in mind. Those include the loan to value, or depending on how much money you put down, and the value of the house. Whatever the bank is going to lend you is called the loan to value, right? So it's a percentage number. The higher the number, the riskier the loan, and so banks usually look at this closely. Including with that is the debt ratio, which is what you spend compared to your income. There are different guidelines for different type of loan programs, including some that only want you to spend 29% of your income um, on your housing expenses, and there's some um, other loan programs that let you go up to 50 or 55% of your income to include all your debts and your house payments. So you can talk about that in person to see how it affects you directly, but just to keep that in mind. And the last thing is your credit. So credit score, everything in the housing industry is very FICO driven. Um, Still, they do want to look at your credit history and the type of events that might be documented there, bankruptcies, foreclosures, If you went through divorce or whatever, then there might be a way to document that to be able to move that forward. But just generally speaking, these main topics affect either from getting pre-approved, once you're approved, and if you are approved, the rates and insurance terms for your mortgage insurance or even your fire insurance that might be affected by the credit as well. Some of the documents that you will need, and this is pretty general documents, is your 2 months. Let me start with the smallest ones, which is two most recent pay stubs, then two most recent bank statements, your two most recent W-2s, your two most recent tax returns, and a copy of your driver's license and social security card if you have that. These are pretty general documents. I do have an online application that you can log in at theflashlender.com, and once you fill out your information, it gives you the opportunity to upload these directly. So I have the opportunity to review all this information before we meet, or even not having to meet, because I might be able to pre-qualify you and momentarily. The estimated out-of-pocket expenses. So just so you have an idea of what it takes to purchase a home, when you're going to place an offer, most realtors ask you to put down 1% of the purchase price, but that could be different. So depending on your agent, mostly 1%. So if you're buying $300,000 house, 1% is 3,000 bucks. They're going to say, let's put this $3,000 when we open escrow, and that tells the seller that you are serious about buying that property. You also need a property inspection. Those usually go between $300 to $400. They're not required per se, but I do recommend that you have one, because one time we purchased a house without an inspection, and then afterwards it was just a mess. We found things on there that were um, not disclosed, and nobody told us because we didn't do an inspection. So lesson learned. So very expensive lesson. So I do highly recommend you get a property inspection. An appraisal is evaluation of the home as it relates to the value, right? So they want to know how much the house is worth. An appraiser, that is somebody who has a real estate license that is trained to look at a property and tell you what it's worth. We'll go out and take a look at the property. It usually runs around $450 to $500. If it's a bigger duplex, triplex, fourplex, those are usually more. But at a single family residence, sometimes we were able to waive those. So we can take a look at that and go on a case by case basis, depending on which lender that we use. Any necessary down payment. So if the program that you are applying for, a conventional, home ready, or home possible, you might only need 3%. FHA needs 3.5%. Regular conventional loans are 5% down. And then there's investment loans that require 10 or 20% to purchase a property. So you will need that as well, and just to keep in mind, right? So the 1% earnest money deposit is actually part of that 3 to 20%. So don't think it's an additional funds or money that you need for that. Closing costs are administrative fees, including lender and title fees, and those are on top of your three to whatever down payment it is. The closing costs are on top of that, so it's usually between 3 to 4%. When it's a buyer's market, we can usually ask the seller to contribute some funds towards that. But when it's a seller's market like it is now, and right now it is April 7th, 2022, then right now there's not a lot of sellers out there trying to give any funds to help you close your deal. They want you to have all your money ready. They want you to be qualified, have no issues in your pre-qualification, your qualification, and they want you to even pay more than what they're asking. So right now it's a tough market, but if you have the right agent, and you let me know if you need a recommendation, there I have several that I can recommend you. One of the main ones that I work with uh, is an expert in guiding you towards it. So let me know if you do need that recommendation. Some of the do's and don'ts as you go through the process, it's important to kind of keep it in the back of your head. Okay, do not increase any current credit card balances. So don't go out shopping and then adding to to your balances on your credit cards. Don't go and get any new credit cards. We don't want anybody checking your credit, or um, that might affect your FICO score. The bank will also want to know if you're going to be getting into more debt, which will affect your debt ratios. It's a mess. So when you're purchasing a home, don't go buy a car, don't go open any credit or anything like that. You also don't close any existing credit, because if you close the credit that you might have now, let's say you have 4 credit cards and you close 2 or 3 or all of them, that's going to affect your credit score, and that might affect how you qualify for that. Remember those 3 things we said. Avoid depositing any cash money into accounts or any other money that is not payroll related. So if you have direct deposit from your work, it goes directly into your bank, and it's easy to document and verify. But if you have money that you have, I don't know, you have a side job or a side business, or you have money under your mattress or in a safe deposit box or something, and you're putting that money in there, it's over $200. They're gonna ask you to document where it's coming from, and they're even though they ask you and they ask you to write letters, they're probably not gonna believe you unless you can document where you got it. So, oh, I have $10,000 that I've saved and it's under my mattress. Okay, well, show me, prove it. I mean, it's going to be hard to document. So try your best to not be depositing any money. Also, make sure you return all requested information as soon as you can. So within 24 hours, but sooner is even better. Okay. Um, once we look at your information, once you get a contract, then right away you should start looking for an insurance agent. I'm sure you already have an insurance company that insures your vehicles, maybe renters insurance, but it might not be necessarily the one that you want to use to insure your home. So shop around and make sure that when I ask you for your insurance, it's called a deck page, declarations page, that you're ready to go. Okay. And if you have any questions, before you make any other type of financial decision or any changes to your current situation, please contact me right away before you do anything that might affect your qualification. So let's review the process, your purchase process as it relates to the home loan, right? So once your offer is accepted, so first you get pre-qualified, and then you go out with your realtor who takes you out to look at houses and all of that. That might take some time, but once you are uh, in an offer that's been accepted, then we're going to set up a meeting and we're going to fill out the actual application that we're going to submit to the lender. And you're going to need to sign some documents for that. It's called the loan app. Um, Please, you're going to have to update all the documentations that you originally given me, your pay stubs, bank statements, all that stuff. That I asked you initially, you need to update those. Again, don't get upset when we ask you those, but we can use documentations that are over 30 days old, so keep that in mind. At that point, I will send your file to processor, and the processor will start ordering. Step 4 will be ordering verification of employment, verification of rent, your assets, tax returns, SS-89s will be ordered to verify all that information. So step 5, and this could all be simultaneously, as once we get the application, everything kind of goes fast for us. We do have a history of closing under 21 days, or actually around 21 days. That's our goal. So keep in mind this is pretty fast. We do ask you that you request 30 days to close when you put the offer, and if we can close faster, then we'll let you know, and we can ask the seller will be completely overjoyed that they can close faster. Step 5 is the lender orders the appraisal, and we open title. Again, some of this stuff is done simultaneously. The appraisal does take some time, 5 to 7 days, sometimes longer if they're behind. Ordering an appraisal is something that we don't control. The bank doesn't control it. We have to go into a system. We order it, and then they get it back to us whenever they get it back to us. So we do have several lenders that have good relationships with all the companies, so they try to get to our appraisals as fast as they can. Number 6 is again to contact your insurance agent and get us a declarations page. 7 is I'll follow up with you if there's anything that's needed that you didn't get to me originally. Um, Once the files are submitted to the underwriter, they're going to take a couple of days to take a look at those. They might give us a conditional approval or a full approval. It doesn't We don't really know when they go. Although we do run the file through an automated system, which tells us what they're going to ask for. But whenever it gets there, it's up to them, um, to get whatever they're really going to need. We're going to answer any underwriting questions and collect any further documentation needed for the final approval. During this time, you're going to with your realtor to do the inspection of the house, the re-inspection, and all of that. Once the final approval is given and we have all the documentations at the bank, then they're gonna get a package ready, which they call, docs. So the loan documents will be prepared and they're going to be sent over to the title company or the escrow company. You will receive a copy of the closing disclosure, which will give you an idea. No, it'll give you the exact numbers that are involved in the transaction. And number 12, once the docs are out at title and as several days have passed by, I believe that once you get clear to close and docs are sent out, it's 4 or 7 days that gotta go by before you can actually close. So you gotta go to your closing. You have to bring in a cashier's check for the money that is missing from your down payment, because remember, you only put that 1% down. So if you needed 3% for the down payment, you still need to pay the other 2%, etc., and the closing costs. So when you're going to closing, the rest of the funds are needed, which have had to been in your bank the whole time anyway. But you bring your driver's license, a list of residences for the last 10 years, because they're going to do a title check on your name, make sure you don't own or have any other issues in there, so they can insure the title to the property as well. And the last step is to get the keys to your home. So one last thing before I'm almost done here. One last thing is communication with your realtor and with yourself as well. We will be in continuous communication with your realtor throughout the process, because it's important that your realtor and me are on the same page. Any questions that they have, will be able to answer them to them, as well as any and all questions that you have. Your agent and myself will be available to you at all times. So if we have your permission, we'll discuss this. We can share all closing documents with your realtors to make sure there's no last minute surprises from any angles. This cooperation between us is it's not necessary. I don't have to give them any information, but if you give us permission or if you request it, I most definitely will. And the last and final step is, once you've done the closing and done everything, then you get the keys to your house and start moving in. So uh, at this point, we give you the big congratulations and we take pictures and hugs and all that stuff, balloons, and this is the end of your transaction. Now, there's a bunch of other steps that you go through with your realtor, but if you just kind of keep in mind the financial part of it, that's what we do on this side, is hand in hand with what they're doing, so you won't feel out of the loop at any point. So thank you for taking the time to look at this short workshop video. Again, my name is Argel Silva. I'm a mortgage consultant with Merit Lending. I go with the moniker the Flash Lender. We do fast and easy loan approvals. Thank you. Have a great day and hope to see you.